Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, my name is Irwan Agustianto from TPAJP. My study number is 205-4065. In this video, I will summarize what I have learned throughout the Islamic Studies methodology course. This presentation covers the main topic from the first meeting until the final meeting. I will explain each topic in chronological order using simple and clear English. Hopefully, by the end of this presentation, I hope we can understand not only the concept of Islamic studies but also their relevance to our daily life and today's society. So let's begin with our first meeting. Meeting 1. Introduction to Islamic Studies Methodology. Methodology is a systematic way of studying something. So, Islamic Studies methodology refers to the method used to understand Islam scientifically and academically. Islamic studies is not only about memorizing the Quran or Hadith, it also involves history, culture, society, and philosophy. Islam can be studied from two perspectives: the normative perspective, which focuses on religious teaching, and academic perspective, which encourages critical and objective thinking. This meeting becomes the foundation for all the topics we learn afterward. After understanding what Islamic studies methodology is, we can now move to the second meeting, where we explored how Islamic studies has developed throughout history. Meeting 2, the history and development of Islamic studies. Islamic studies has a long historical development. In the early period, learning centered on the Quran, Hadith, and Islamic law, with most as center of education. As Islamic civilization expand, Muslim scholars contribute to philosophy, medicine, mathematics, and astronomy. Later, Islamic studies also developed in Western universities, using historical, sociological, political, and, and political approach. Both Muslim and Western scholars have shaped how Islamic studies continue to grow today. After learning how Islamic studies develop, the next question is, why is religion so important in human life? This question becomes the focus of our third meeting. Meeting 3. Religion in human life. Religion plays an important role in human life. Every human searches for meaning and purpose. Why do we exist and what happens after death? For Muslim, Islam guides every aspect of life: how to worship Allah, how to treat others, and how to build peaceful society. Religion also builds moral values like honesty, justice, and compassion, and it contributes to social harmony. So, religion is not only personal belief but also a force that shapes society. Now that we understand the importance of religion in human life, we can continue to the fourth meeting, which discuss the characteristic of dimension of Islamic teaching. Meeting 4. Characteristic and dimension of Islamic teaching. Islam is a comprehensive religion. It regulates not only worship but also family life, education, economic, and relationship. Islam has three key characteristics. It is universal, meant for all people regardless of race or culture. It is balanced between worldly life and the hereafter, and is flexible, adapting to different times while keeping its core principle unchanged. Islam also has three main dimensions. Aqidah is faith and belief in Allah. Sharia consists of Islam laws and acts of worship. Akhlaq emphasizes good character and ethics. Together, these three dimensions shape Muslims into faithful and moral, upright individuals. After learning the basic concept of Islamic studies, we can now explore how Islam can be understood from different perspectives. In this section, we will discuss Islam as a cultural phenomenon the method used in Islamic studies and the difference between research on religion and religious research. Let's begin with meeting 5. Meeting 5. Islam as a cultural phenomenon. In our first meeting, we learned that Islam is not only a religion but also a cultural phenomenon. Beyond worship, like prayer and fasting, Islam also influences people's daily life, tradition, and culture. For example, Muslims in different countries practice the same religion but celebrate Islamic events differently. Indonesian Muslims have traditions like halal bihalal after Eid, while Muslims elsewhere have their own custom. These practice differ, but they are inspired by the same Islamic values. This topic teaches us to distinguish between Islamic teaching and local tradition. Not every cultural practice is a religious obligation, but culture can become a medium for expressing Islamic values, and this helps us appreciate diversity within the Muslim community. Now that we understand Islam from a cultural perspective, the next question is how can we study Islam scientifically? This brings us to the sixth meeting. Meeting 6. Method in Islamic Studies. In this meeting, we discuss methods used to study Islam systematically and academically. A method is a structured way to gain knowledge, and without one, our understanding of Islam may become incomplete. There are several important approaches. The normative approach focuses on the Quran and Hadith as a primary source. The historical approach helps us understand Islamic events within their historical context. The sociological approach studies how Islam influenced society and vice versa. The anthropological approach examines the relationship between Islam and the culture, and the philosophical approach encourages critical thinking about concepts, ethics, and values in Islam. Each method has its own strength, so Islamic studies should not really only one approach. Different methods complement one another from a broader, more balanced understanding. After learning the methods of Islamic studies, we move to another important topic that often confuses students: the difference between research on religion and religious research. Meeting 7. Research on religion and religious research. In this meeting, we learn the difference between two terms that sound similar but mean different things. Research on religious focus on a religion itself. Researchers study religious texts, doctrine, and theological concepts such as analyzing the interpretation of a Quranic verse. Religious research, on the other hand, examine how religion is practiced in society. People, religious behavior, tradition, and social issues related to religion, such as how Islamic values influence education or family life. In simple words, research on religious studies the religion is life, where religious research studies religious life in society. Understanding this distinction matters because different research topics require different method and perspective. This also emphasizes that Islamic studies is an interdisciplinary field, combining theology, sociology, anthropology, history, and philosophy to understand religion more comprehensively. After learning the general method of Islamic studies and the difference between research on a religion and religious research, we are now ready to explore more specific research models. In this section, we will discuss Quranic research, Hadith research, and the important role of ijtihad in corresponding to contemporary issues. Let's begin with meeting 8 model of Quranic research. In the 8th meeting, we learned about different model of Quranic research. the Quran is the primary source of Islamic teaching, so understanding its meaning requires proper research method rather than personal interpretation alone. One common model is textual research, which analyzes the language, vocabulary, and structure of Quranic verse to understand their original meaning. Another is contextual research, which studies the historical background of a verse, including the circumstance of its relevation so we can interpret it accurately and avoid misunderstanding. Researchers also use thematic interpretation or tasfir madui, collecting all verse related to one specific topic like education or justice for a comprehensive misunderstanding. Comparative research is also used to compare interpretation of different scholars, helping us appreciate the diversity of Islamic scholarship. Overall, Quranic research encourages us to study the Quran carefully, systematically, and responsibly. While the Quran is the first source of Islamic teachings, Muslims also rely on another important source, the Hadith. Therefore, our next topic focuses on model of Hadith research. Meeting 9, Model of Hadith Research. In this meeting, we discuss how scholars study and verify hadith, which record the saying, action, and approval of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. The first aspect is examining the chain of narrator or sanad, investigating whether its narrator was trustworthy and directly connected to previous one. The second is analyzing the content of matan, checking whether it consistent with the Quran, authentic hadith, historical fact, and logical reasoning. Through this method, hadith is classified into categories such as sahih, hasan, and da'if. Modern research also applies historical and contemporary approach to understand how hadith can be implemented today without losing its original meaning. This shows that Islamic scholarship is based on careful investigation, not a simple assumption. After understanding the two primary sources of Islam, the Quran and Hadith, we move to another important concept that helps Muslims respond to new situation: ijtihad. Meeting 10, ijtihad as a source and method in Islamic studies. Our 10 meeting focus on ijtihad, making a serious intellectual effort to find solutions to issues not directly explained in the Quran or Hadith. As a society develops, new problems emerge. Artificial intelligence, digital finance, genetic engineering, and online business didn't exist during the Prophet time. Because of this, Muslim scholars use ijtihad to apply Islamic principles to contemporary challenges. However, ijtihad is not based on personal opinion alone. It requires deep knowledge of the Quran, Hadith, Arabic language, Islamic law, and the objective of Sharia, known as Maqasid al-Sharia. This means only qualified scholars can perform it responsibly. One key lesson here that Islam is both stable and dynamic. Its core principles remain unchanged, but qualified scholars can interpret and apply those principles to changing circumstances, keeping Islamic teaching relevant while preserving their original values. After learning about the research model of the Quran, Hadith, and the role of ijtihad, we can now see how Islamic studies respond to modern challenges. In this final section, we will discuss Islam in the area of globalization, contemporary Islamic dynamic, and the broad areas of Islamic studies. Let's begin with meeting 11. Meeting 11, Islam in the era of globalization. In the 11th meeting, we discussed how globalization has influenced Muslim worldwide. Globalization means increasing connection between countries through technology, communication, and economic activities. For Muslims, globalization brings opportunities and challenges. On the positive side, technology makes Islamic knowledge more accessible. People can read the Quran online, attend virtual lectures, and learn from scholars worldwide. However, it also brings risks like misinformation, religious extremism, and moral confusion. So, Muslims need strong critical thinking and solid Islamic values to evaluate the information they receive. We also learn three approaches for Muslim philosopher Muhammad Abed al-Jabri: the Bayani approach, understanding Islam through the Quran and Hadith; the Burhani approach, following logical and scientific reasoning; and the Irfani approach, focused on spiritual experience and inner purification. These three complement each other in helping Muslims respond wisely to globalization. Globalization has transformed many aspects of life. As a result, Islam also faces new development and new discussion. This became the focus of 12 meeting. Meeting 12: Contemporary Islamic Dynamics. All 12 meetings explore Islam dynamic nature in the modern world. Islam's core teaching remain constant, but Muslim societies continuously adapt to new circumstances, discussing issues like artificial intelligence, environmental protection, gender equality, and financial technology. Muslims are encouraged to promote moderation, tolerance, and peaceful coexistence. Difference of opinion among scholars are natural, since they use different methods and perspectives. Instead of creating conflict, this difference enrich Islamic intellectual tradition. Contemporary Islamic studies encourage Muslims to stay open-minded while remaining committed to Islam's fundamental teachings. Finally, after learning various methods and perspectives, we conclude the course by studying the broad scope of Islamic studies itself. Meeting 13: Areas of Islamic Studies. The final meeting introduced the different areas within Islamic studies as a multidisciplinary field covering Quranic studies, Hadith studies, Islamic law, fiqh, Islamic theology, Islamic history, Islamic philosophy, and Islamic education. It also connects with social science like sociology, anthropology, and political science to understand Islam contemporary society. This reminds us that Islam studies is not limited to one discipline, but connect many fields for a comprehensive understanding of Islam. Final reflection. After completing all 13 meetings, I realized Islamic studies is not much broader than I had imagined. I used to think it mainly focused on religious texts, but it also involved history, culture, philosophy, sociology, and critical thinking. One important lesson is that understanding Islam requires both knowledge and wisdom. As students, we should study Islamic teaching through reliable sources and appropriate method, not simply accept information without examination. Islamic knowledge should not only increase our understanding, but also improve our character and strengthen our faith. Conclusion. In conclusion, this course has shown that Islamic studies is a dynamic, interdisciplinary field combining religious knowledge with scientific inquiry, historical understanding, and ethical reflection. By studying it systematically, we become better prepared to understand our religion and contribute to a peaceful and responsible society. Thank you very much for watching this presentation. I hope this video provide a clear summary what I have learned throughout this course. Thank you for attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.